The little man who looked like a CPA stepped forward. He was still twiddling with the magnum. "Are you Glen Bateman, Lawson Underwood, Stuart Redman, and Ralph Brentner?" "Say, you dummy," Ralph said, "can't you count?" Someone snickered. The CPA type flushed. "Who's missing?" Larry said, "Stu met with an accident on the way here. And I do believe you're going to have one yourself if you don't stop fooling with that gun." There were more snickers. The CPA managed to tuck the pistol into the waistband of his gray slacks, which made him look more ridiculous than ever. A Walter Mitty outlaw daydream. "My name is Paul Burleson," he said, "and by virtue of the power vested in me, I arrest you and order you to come with me." "In whose name?" Glen said immediately. Burleson looked at him with contempt, but the contempt was mixed with something else. "You know who I speak for." "Then say it." But Burleson was silent. "Are you afraid?" Glen asked him. He looked at all 8 of them. "Are you so afraid of him you don't dare speak his name? Very well, I'll say it for you. His name is Randall Flagg, also known as the Dark Man, also known as the Tall Man, also known as the Walkin' Dude. Don't some of you call him that?" His voice had climbed to the high, clear octaves of fury. Some of the men looked uneasily at each other, and Burleson fell back a step. "Call him Beelzebub, because that's his name, too. Call him Nyarlathotep and Ahaz and Astaroth. Call him Riella and Seti and Anubis. His name is Legion, and he's an apostate of hell, and you men kiss his ass." His voice dropped to a conversational pitch again. He smiled disarmingly. "Just thought we ought to have that out front." Look. "I'd like you to meet my associate," Flagg said with a giggle. "Lloyd Henry, meet Glen Bateman, sociologist, Free Zone committee member, and single existing member of the Free Zone think tank, now that Nick Andros is dead." "Meetcha," Lloyd mumbled. "How's your arthritis, Glen?" Flagg asked. His tone was commiserating, but his eyes sparkled with high glee and secret knowledge. Glen opened and closed his hands rapidly, smiling back at Flagg. No one would ever know what an effort it took to maintain that gentle smile. The intrinsic worth of the clay. "Fine," he said. "Much better for sleeping indoors, thank you." Flagg's smile faltered a bit. Glen caught just a glimpse of narrow surprise and anger. Of fear? "I've decided to let you go," he said briskly. His smile sprang forth again, radiant and vulpine. Lloyd uttered a little gasp of surprise, and Flagg turned to him. "Haven't I, Lloyd?" Sure," Lloyd said. "Sure enough." "Well, fine," Glen said easily. He could feel the arthritis sinking deeper and deeper into his joints, numbing them like ice, swelling them like fire. "You'll be given a small motorbike, and you may drive back at your leisure." "Of course I couldn't go without my friends." "Of course not. And all you have to do is ask. Get down on your knees and ask me." Glen laughed heartily. He threw back his head and laughed long and hard. And as he laughed, the pain in his joints began to abate. He felt better, stronger, in control again. Oh, you're a card," he said. "I tell you what you do. Why don't you find a nice big sand pile, get yourself a hammer, and pound all that sand right up your ass." Flagg's face grew dark. The smile slipped away. His eyes, previously as dark as the jetstone Lloyd wore, now seemed to gleam yellowly. He reached out his hand to the locking mechanism on the door and wrapped his fingers around it. There was an electric buzzing sound. Fire leaped out between his fingers, and there was a hot smell in the air. The lockbox fell to the floor, smoking and black. Lloyd Henry cried out. The dark man grabbed the bars and threw the cell door back on its track. "Stop laughing." Glen laughed harder. "Stop laughing at me." "You're nothing," Glen said, wiping his streaming eyes and still chuckling. "Oh, pardon me. It's just that we were all so frightened. We made such a business out of you. I'm laughing as much at our own foolishness as at your regrettable lack of substance." "Shoot him, Lloyd." Flagg had turned it to the other man. His face was working horribly. His hands were hooked into predator's claws. "Oh, kill me yourself if you're going to kill me," Glen said. "Surely you're capable. Touch me with your finger and stop my heart. Make the sign of the inverted cross and give me a massive brain embolism. Bring down the lightning from the overhead socket to cleave me in two. Oh dear me." Glen collapsed onto the cell cot and rocked back and forth, consumed with delicious laughter.